Good evening, Caps fans, and welcome into the broadcast booth here at Bob Suiter's Capital Ice Arena as the Capitals are set to face off against the USNTDP for the fifth and final time this season against the 17th, seventh overall time against the NTDP. The Capitals looking to pick up points in every single one of those 7 games this year. They can do so with a point this evening, coming into tonight 5-0, 1-0 against the NTDP in total, and 3-0, 1-0 against the U17s. A huge thank you to TDS for being the sponsor of tonight's game. It's our Caps Carnival. A little too late to be here at Cap Ice, but earlier we had some inflatables outside as well as our open skate, a little pregame skate for the fans here at Cap Ice. Just kind of a fan appreciation, also billet appreciation night as well. So it should be a fun one here in Middleton, to say the least. But before we can get into all that, here's what's on tap here this evening. Hey Caps fans, welcome into another edition of What's on Tap as we preview everything for tonight's matchup as the Capitals are set to face off against the USNTDP U17s for the final time this season. It's the Caps Carnival presented by our friends at TDS. We can't thank them enough for all the fun that you guys had outside. Pre-game here today started at 5, went to 6:30. We had an open skate on the far side. Former President Andrew Jonesry got in the dunk tank earlier today as well, so a great time outside, so we can't thank them enough for their support of the Madison Capitals this season. Last night, the Capitals at home at Bob Suiter's Capital Ice Arena won by a score of 5-2. 3 first-period goals, all late in the first period, scored this time by Delaney, Johnson, and Kuzma. Gave Madison a 3-0 lead that they never looked back from. James Hong added one in the second, tipped home a beauty feed from Sean Ramsey at the point. And then in the third, it was Jack Brandt putting the cherry on top as the Capitals took home a 5-2 victory. Of course, at this point of the year, the Capitals have already clinched a playoff spot, and they're looking to get home ice. But last night, Youngstown beats Green Bay. Youngstown sits in 4th place right in front of the Capitals as we take a look at our standings here in the Eastern Conference. Youngstown won last night, so the Capitals stand pat and still have that 4-point deficit behind Youngstown in the Eastern Conference as the Capitals look to just continue climbing. Of course, not a ton of time left, 4 games left, including tonight's game against the USNTDP. Next week, you'll hear me say the complete opposite, but tonight, go Gamblers as the Gamblers are facing off against Youngstown tonight. The Capitals need the Cheese Cup opponent presented by Klondike Cheese, which we'll see next week here at Cap Ice, to take home a victory in Youngstown and help the Capitals just be 2 points back heading into tomorrow's contest in Cedar Rapids. The Capitals, of course, have to take care of business here today as well, though, and a big part of it, James Hong, 99 career points coming into today, 1 goal, 1 assist, however it happens, could be his 100th USHL point, so be on the lookout for that tonight as well. Again, I just want to thank TDS. The whole Capitals organization wants to thank TDS for helping us put on that Carnival outside pregame today. It was a great time had by all out there for sure. So make sure that you thank them. See them in the lobby. They have a table out there as well. They have a nice flashing light spinning wheel that you can win some prizes. So make sure you go see them out in the lobby. Puck drop scheduled for 7:05, so it's right around the corner. Get to your seats, grab some food at the concession stand, and be prepared for a great night of Capitals hockey right here. Only 2 more home games, including tonight. So we need you loud, Madison, here this evening. One last thing before we go. Go Caps, go. Back here at Bob Suiter's Capital Ice Arena, welcome into the pregame show presented by our friends at Floor and Decor. Come explore our unmatched selection of high-quality products, all at everyday low prices, and see how easy creating the space to match your taste can be. Discover your new Floor and Decor, now open in Monona and online at flooranddecor.com. Coming up in pregame, we'll have all sorts of fun stuff for you, including the Bergstrom Automotive starting lineups, your out-of-town scoreboard from last night, thanks to our friends at madcapshockey.com, and, of course, all leading up to puck drop here in Middleton as the Capitals set to face off against the USNTDP U17s for the 7th time this season in total as the Capitals look to close the gap on Youngstown. Youngstown out in front early in Green Bay, but before we can get into all that, let's recap last night for the Capitals. Last night, first period kind of quiet until the 13:56 mark. Chris Delaney from Austin Bernovic gave the Capitals a 1-0 lead. Just about a minute later, Diego Johnson tallied goal number 4 of the season from Rainers Rullers and Nathan Toby to extend the lead to 2-0. Andrew Kuzma, goal number 28 of the year for the Naperville, Illinois native at 18:12 of the period from Max Nagel gives Madison the 3-0 lead as they head into intermission. In the second period, James Hong able to strike once again. It was his 17th of this season. 6:04 into the period from Ramsey and Bernovic. Fondrick scored to get into that lead for the Capitals. 4-1. They led at intermission number 2. Cullen Potter with his 8th USHL goal this season made it 4-2 Caps, but Jack Brandt put the cherry on top for the Capitals late in that one as the Capitals won 5-2. 34-27 were shots on goal last night. Both teams 0 for on the power play. The Capitals 0 for 2. USNTDP 0 for 1 as the Capitals look to improve to a franchise Tier 1 record of 31 wins here this evening, and it'll mark at least 500 for the first time since the team returned in 2014. When we come back, we'll have your lineups and all sorts of fun stuff, all leading up to puck drop. The Capitals and the U17s going at it right here on Caps Radio on YouTube. Slam it home. Steele scores!
Dear sharp curves, don't spin your wheels. Toyota has more all-wheel drive sedans than any other brand, so you can bet your bottom dollar that we're sharper than ever, 'cause we got traction, baby. Yours, Toyota Sedans.
Right now, you can get 2.99% APR for 60 months on a new 2024 Toyota Camry. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Back here at Bob Suter's Capital Ice Arena as the Capitals and USNTDP U17 set to go at it once again here this evening for the 5th and final time of the year. 3-0, 1-0 are the Capitals against this NTDP squad, including that 5-2 victory last night. Elsewhere last night in the USHL, we'll take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard thanks to our friends at MadCapsHockey.com. Your out-of-town scoreboard is always brought to you by MadCapsHockey.com. Stay up to date with all things Capitals news and notes by heading over to the home of the Capitals, MadCapsHockey.com. Green Bay, you needed a win for the Capitals. You just wanted Green Bay to pick up a win last night. Fell 4-2 to Youngstown. In regulation, our old friend Nathan Lewis scored to make it 4-2 to put that cherry on top for the Phantoms late. And that one is the Phantoms keep up with the Capitals and really keep in front, keep that lead. 4 points they lead over the Capitals heading into tonight's action. Muskegon falls to the U18s at home ice, Trinity Health Arena, as the USNTDP won by a score of 5-3. For Des Moines and Fargo, Fargo wins 4-1, and that one 48th win of the year for the Fargo Forts. 4-3, Chicago takes down the Fighting Saints of Dubuque in a shootout. 6-3, Lincoln beats Sioux City, and elsewhere, Tri-City falls to Sioux Falls in a shootout 6-5. Waterloo takes care of Omaha 7-1. Tonight, already some games underway. Fargo already with a 4-1 lead over Des Moines. The U18s lead 1-0 over Muskegon. 1-1 between Omaha and Lincoln. And that one's in Lincoln at the Icebox as well. 1-1 the score between Sioux Falls and Tri-City at the end of one. End of one in Waterloo. Tomorrow's opponent for the Capitals, Cedar Rapids, trails 3-0. Cedar Rapids had their fate sealed last night by Chicago's win as Chicago clinched the playoff spot last night. 1-0 the Phantoms in front of Green Bay at the end of one there as well. Some other action in the USHL getting underway at 7, and that includes the Dubuque Fighting Saints hosting the Chicago Steel at 7:05. And, of course, the game here as well as the Capitals facing off against this U17 squad. Conrad Fondrick, sorry about that. I said that a couple times last night. Conrad Fondrick 41 points on the year. Really impressed me last night. Scored their first goal as the Capitals look tonight to continue improving, grab a couple of points, and even if you're not able to catch up to Youngstown to put that home ice, you at least put enough pressure on them to worry about it, and maybe that helps out in a series at the Covelli Center later this month. That'll be the middle of the month of April, so if the Capitals were to host, it would be that middle week, so keep your calendars open. I think I have some news later on in the broadcast about the potential of hosting some playoff games and what ticket availability will look like on that as well. So you're in the right place for that. When we come back, we'll have your lineups and starters presented by Bergstrom Auto, all leading up to puck drop here in Middleton as the Capitals set to face off against the U17s. You're listening to the home of Capitals hockey, the Capitals Radio Network. Back here at Bob Suter's Capital Ice Arena, let's take a look at tonight's lineup presented by the Madison Capitals social media pages. Make sure to go give them a follow at Mad Caps Hockey. First for the visiting USNTDP U17s, Jake Stewart, Will Moore, and Jack Murtagh on the first line. Richard Gallant, Conrad Fondrick, and Jacob Kwasnika on the second line. Landon Halfley, Andrew O'Neill, and Will Bell will be the third line for the U17s. Christian Epperson, Cullen Potter, and Will Horkov will round things out on the fourth line for the U17s this evening. On the back end, Donnie Bracco and Garrett Lindberg are the first pair. Maceo Phillips and Asher Barnett on pair number 2. Drew Schock the fourth. The Green Bay native and Lincoln Keene on the third pair. Charlie Trethewey back in the lineup after serving his suspension as the extra defenseman tonight for the U17s. Joey Slavic will get the start for the U17s here this evening. He comes in with 19 games played, a 4.16 goals against average, and an 8.64 save percentage. That's overall. And just in USHL play, a little bit better, 2.60-1, 4.39 goals against, and an 8.71 save percentage to his credit. For the Capitals, Austin Bernovic, James Hong, and Gavin Eulenkamp up front. Chris Delaney, Andrew Kuzma, and Max Nagel on the second line. Jack Brandt, Rayners Rullers, and Diego Johnson on the third. Aiden Long, Sam Rice, and Brendan Lamb on the fourth. That lineup to this point should sound very familiar. Same lineup the Caps rolled with last night. Mason Moe will be the extra forward for the Capitals here this evening. John Stout, John Ramsey on the first pair. Colton Jameson, Nathan Toby on the second. James Mackey and Charlie Michaud on the third pair. Noah Barlangi is the extra defenseman tonight for the Madison Capitals. Carson Musser will start in goal for Madison tonight. 30 games played, 16-10, 2-2 on the year, 2.71 goals against, and a 9.06 goals against average for Musser on this season. It's time to get a quick look at our starting lineups presented by our friends at Bergstrom Automotive for the USNTDP. They start with Gallant, Fondrick, and Kwasnika up front. On the back end, it's Keene and Trethewey. In between the pipes, Joey Slavic, as previously mentioned. The USNTDP is coached by head coach Greg Moore, assistant coaches Chad Kolaric and Ryan Hayes, and player development coach Tommy Coggin. For the Madison Capitals, Austin Bernovic, James Hong, and Mason Moe will get the start for the Capitals. Up front on the back end, it's Colton Jameson and Nathan Toby. And in between the pipes, Carson Musser, returning from injury for the first time since these two teams played last Thursday night. Musser all good, which is glad to hear on the broadcast for sure. The Capitals are led by head coach and general manager Andy Brandt, associate head coach and assistant general manager Tom Gilbert, assistant coach Dominic Zombo, and goaltending coach Shane Connolly. Again, our starting lineups always brought to you by our friends at Bergstrom Automotive. Bergstrom Automotive is Wisconsin's #1 automotive retailer with upfront pricing on new and used cars for sale. Bergstrom Automotive is proud to present the starting lineup all season long here on the Capitals Radio Network. Puck drop right around the corner here at Bob Suter's Capitol Ice Arena. We'll be back with it as the Capitals set to face off against the U17s for the final time this regular season. Welcome into Bob Suter's Capitol Ice Arena. Game number 59 for the Capitals here this season as they face off against the U.S. U17s for the fifth and final time this regular season. Welcome into the broadcast booth here in Middleton. My name's Drew Steele, and I'll be captaining the ship going through your ear ocean all evening long. Billet Appreciation Night, so takes a little time for all the billets to get off the ice, but should be a fun one here as the Capitals 3-0, 1-0 against the U17s this season, looking to collect points in every single game against the USNTDP this season if they're able to collect points tonight. Of course, you have to take care of business in the process of that as the Capitals still fighting for some home ice here and the USHL Clark Cup playoffs upcoming here in the month of April. The Capitals travel right to left across your radio dial and Flow Hockey screens in period number 1, wearing the all-navy trimmed with white and Columbia. The USNTDP U17s left to right, wearing red, white, and blue. White tops, white helmets, and white sock, all trimmed with red and blue as previously mentioned. The goaltenders for tonight's matchup, Joey Slavic for the USNTDP. He matched up against this Capitals squad just a couple of weeks ago, March 23rd. Capitals kind of got the better of him in that one, to say the least, as our officials is assigned by the United States Hockey League, Sean Kornick and Will Fraser, linesman Jacob Rosenberg and Jared Townsend, on a Saturday night. And for the second to last time here in Middleton this season, the Capitals set to face off against the USNTDP U17s. We get the thumbs up from our ice crew here. Sean Kornick at center ice, joined by Conrad Frondrick and James Hong, and we're underway as Hong wins the faceoff back for the Capitals. Mason Moe deflects that one down in deep. Moe tried out for this USNTDP squad at 40-man camp last year. An Aaron breakout pass allows the Capitals a chance right away. Mason Moe sends one towards the goal. Rebound sits there, but Slavic able to control and send to the corner where Trethaway can start up that far side wall, at least for a moment, before reversing course over to the near side. One pops up into a sweet, just a couple over from me here in the press box in Middleton. 23 seconds into period number 1, scoreless, and a faceoff just outside the offensive zone for the Capitals. Upcoming a goaltending matchup presented by our friends at MadCapsHockey.com. Joey Slavic, you see him there on your screens on Flow Hockey. Capitals beat him earlier in the month of March, and then on the other end, Carson Muster, one of the best goaltenders in the USHL, returning from injury, his first appearance since having to exit last Thursday's game against the U17s via an upper body injury. He's all well and okay, as the Capitals are glad to have him back. Icing on the U17s will send it all the way back the other way. 31 seconds into period number 1. Muster, you see him on your screen there, comes in with a record of 16, 10, 2, and 2 on the year, 271 goals against, and a 906 save percentage to his credit. Muster, to his credit, battled through some adversity earlier this season, being a big part of this Capitals squad. Right out of the gate, Patrick Berzins really kind of showed that he was the guy, and Muster stood tall, and throughout the season he's done just that, as well as the Capitals goaltender for tonight's matchup. Comes in with one of the best goals against averages in the USHL. Comes in with one of the best save percentages in the USHL, as he's climbing up the Capitals' all-time records as well. We'll get to that throughout the broadcast here tonight as the U.S. deep inside the offensive zone. Epperson takes it behind the goal, brings it to the near side. Michaud puts some pressure on him before he can get it up top to Horkoff. Horkoff off the near side wall to Potter. Potter scored the second U.S. goal last night. He'll continue it to Epperson. Epperson through the slot, where unable to hold the line is Phillips. Phillips will have to backtrack all the way back inside his own defensive zone before he can start up ice up that far side after playing pitch and catch with his defensive partner, Asher Barnett. Phillips sends it down in deep. Muster plays it to the far side. It'll be to the middle for Barlagi, who plays it off the wall. Diego Johnson, who scored last night for the Capitals, unable to get things moving forward, but eventually Jack Brandt will sweep it down in deep as the Capitals go chase after it. Deep inside the zone is the defenseman there. I believe Lincoln Keene in the mix for the U17s, but the Capitals win the battle. John Stout at the point, shot deflected along the way, sits out front. It's still loose, but the U17s able to at least try to clear to the line. They're unable to get it out as the Capitals on the far side corral the puck for a brief moment before a nice play by Will Moore starts things back the other way for the U17s. They'll dump, and the Capitals will go pick up behind their own goal just past 2 minutes into period number 1. The Capitals here in Middleton, as I mentioned, the second to last home game of the regular season for the Capitals, in the chase for some home ice in the Clark Cup playoffs, which start just in a couple of weeks here. The Capitals 4 points back at Youngstown, and could really use the Green Bay Gamblers taking care of business in Youngstown tonight. If so, the Capitals, I believe, would control their own destiny, as they would have the tiebreaker of regulation and overtime wins. Of course, the Capitals with 30 wins on the year, tying a franchise best since the team's return in 2014. Jamieson sends it down into the corner. Lamb takes it up the near side wall, sends it to the far side point for Ramsey. Ramsey to the middle for Lamb, deflects it towards the goal. A nice job by the U.S. to start the rush back the other way. It's Bell achieving the red line and he'll carry into the offensive zone. Jamison forces him to the corner. He'll take it behind the goal now. Has it on his weak side before sending it down in deep where Sean Ramsey can battle against on that far side. Landon Halfley. Halfley plays it off the end wall once again. Jamison will go pick up, and the Capitals able to clear the zone up the near side wall, forcing Garrett Lindbergh, the North Dakota commit, to spin things back up the other way. Fondrick throws on the brakes. A shot deflects along the way and goes wide of Carson Musser's cage. And now the Capitals off to the races the other way, but a nice recovery from Drew Schock gets things under a bit of control for the U.S. I wouldn't say completely, as Bernovic battling for it in the offensive zone for the Capitals. Uhlenkamp kind of got off of his track that time as the referee kind of got in his lane. You know, some inadvertent plays that time will always come into play, and the referee getting in your way beneath the goal line can always happen. As Mackey spins off of Richard Gallant, stick check, and the Capitals start back the other way on the stick of James Hong. Hong comes into tonight's game, 99 career USHL points, has a career high in goals and assists this season. So, yeah, do the math. If you have a career high in goals and assists, you're going to have a career high in points. Shot from Gavin Uhlenkamp and a nice save from Joey Slavic to stop play for at least a moment. 15:51 to go, period number one. 0-0 our score here in Middleton as a faceoff upcoming in the offensive zone for the Capitals. The second line pops out onto the ice. Two goal scorers last night for the Capitals on their second line. Chris Delaney and Andrew Kuzma both getting first period goals for the Capitals. Diego Johnson picked up one of those as well. James Hong and Jack Brandt, the other two goal scorers for Madison, en route to their 5-2 victory over this U17 squad. Picked up their third win of the season against the U17, 3-0, 1-0 against the NTDP U17s, 5-0, 1-0 against the NTDP in total this season, a 2-0 sweep of the U18s this year. Delaney in the corner, has it battled away up that far side wall. The U.S. will start the breakout. Cullen Potter, the centerman, dropped back to play possession of the puck, and he'll actually have a chance at it at neutral ice, but Horkov plays it back deep inside his own defensive zone, where they'll settle things down and start up the near side wall. Through neutral, Horkov leaves there into the offensive. Now Epperson. Epperson leaves. Potter dangles a bit there before sending one towards goal, which is patrolled well by Carson Musser. Holds for a whistle. 4:41, period number one. Still scoreless between the Capitals and U17s. Taking a look at our out-of-town scoreboard thanks to our friends at Madcaps Hockey. The Phantoms on top, 3-1 in Youngstown at the moment. The Capitals really like some help from the Green Bay Gamblers here this evening. The USNTDP U17s, the team the Caps are facing off against here this evening, actually will do a home-and-home with Youngstown next week. So enemies for today, friends for tomorrow. Capitals need to grab a couple of points here and take care of business on their own side. Murtagh sends one towards the goal. It goes wide. Karam's off the end wall where it's picked up by Jack Brandt. Brandt avoids the stick check of a couple of players, enters the offensive zone onside, and on the near side, the Capitals battle against Donnie Bracco, but Bracco forces his way out of the zone, has a little help from his friend in Jake Stewart. Into the offensive zone comes Murtagh. Has it on the back end, takes it behind the goal, does a nice job to use his body to shield the puck. Rainers Rollers pokes that one up into the sky. Unable to hold the line is Asher Barnett. He'll have to take it all the way back inside his defensive zone before they'll start up the near side wall. Halfley into the offensive zone with a shot, kick to the far side. Capitals patrol and send it out towards neutral once again. 5.5 gone in period number one as the U.S. into the offensive zone. Moore drops back. A player loses an edge. That's Halfley. So the U.S. just kind of dodges possession for a moment as Sean Ramsey picks up behind the Caps goal. Plays it along for Sam Rice. The two were teammates at Chippewa in the NAHL last season. Ramsey a midseason addition for this Capital squad as now the U.S. back the other way. Halfley feeds it along for Andrew O'Neill. O'Neill got a piece of it to negate icing, but Colton Jamison will be the first one back for it. He turns on the Jets and starts up ice, but a nice stick check from behind, and now back the other way comes Halfley. Halfley forced to spin back at the half wall at the top of the far side circle. Shot kicked into the corner by Musser, and the Capitals send it out towards neutral ice. Just past the 6-minute mark. Period number one. As the U.S. starts up the near side wall, they'll send it down in deep. Jamison chases back after it for the Capitals, and he'll just poke it off that far side wall. It goes off the window a little bit as well, and the Capitals into the offensive zone via Austin Bernovic. Has it poked off of his stick, and Drew Schock, the fourth, settles things down for the U17. Schock plays it to the near side. Kwastinga unable to get a good grip of that one as James Mackey receives it. Uhlenkamp sent down to the ice surface, and they'll send it out towards neutral ice. He exits the zone, does the puck, but Donnie Bracco sends it right back in for the U17s. Michaud, far side, Uhlenkamp. Sidesteps a U.S. stick check, feeds it to Mackey on the near side. Far side, Bernovic. Bernovic tried to center it to Uhlenkamp, but a U.S. player got a stick on it, and Bernovic gets it back. Feeds it out front, and James Hong sends it wide. Uhlenkamp on the near side, unable to really get a hold of it. Back the other way comes Gallant for the U.S. They'll go get a change. A couple of Caps will as well as the transition game starts for Charlie Michaud. Played off the far side wall. Chris Delaney, fresh off the bench, trying to feed it to Max Nagel. Intercepted by Epperson, who carries into the offensive zone for the U17s. Feeds it out front. Unable to get his stick down in time was Cullen Potter, but the U.S. holds possession. Horkov to Potter on the far side. Toe drags near side. Lindbergh backdoor feed. Cullen Potter, second goal of the weekend, gives the U.S. their first lead against the Capitals here in the weekend as well. As the U.S. U17s take an early 1-0 lead in this one. Tic-tac-toe eventually works out as Lindbergh feeds it backdoor. The Michigan State commit able to score for the U.S. Ninth USHL goal for Potter. The Minneapolis, Minnesota native via the Dallas Stars Elite AAA program gives the U17s an early lead. Obviously, this stat does include the U18 squad for the U.S. 16-12, 0-0 when scoring first this season are the USNTDP. As Jack Brandt dragged down to the ice surface, no call will come from either referee. A pass intended for Diego Johnson deflects off of a U.S. player, and they're back into the offensive zone. Near side, Mertag shot, kicked away by Muster. The rebound sent into the corner. Barlagi got a piece of it along the way. John Stout goes and pokes along that far side wall, and the Capitals out towards neutral ice will start through, but back the other way come the U.S. Mertag, far side, carries into the corner, feeds to the near side, unable to get a piece of it. Penalty upcoming, or rather the net lodges for the Capitals behind the goal, so I believe the faceoff should come outside. Sure enough, that's where the linesman is headed. 11:53 to go, period number one. 1-0 our score. Could have been a media timeout there. No media timeout will be taken, though. The Capitals upset because they looked like they were running up the other end of the ice. Potter and Rice, the two-team centermen, meet up just outside the Capitals bench. Rice wins the draw and will start up the near side. He'll backhand it down into the offensive zone, and the Capitals will go on the hunt for it. Long on the far side, unable to get to it, and the U.S. back the other way on the stick that time of Lincoln Keene. Keene has his stick lifted by a back-checking Rice. Rice had a whole bunch of speed going into it, and the Capitals up the near side wall, unable to get a hold of it. And Aiden Long intercepts, though. Long carries into the offensive zone. A shot pops up into the netting behind the goaltender, Joey Slavic, as we'll reach our first media timeout here in period number one. Let's take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard, thanks to our friends at MadCapsHockey.com. 4-2, Fargo leads Des Moines, middle of period number two there. The U18's all squared with the Lumberjacks of Muskegon. That one at USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth. 1-1, Omaha and Lincoln in Lincoln. That one halfway through the second as well. 2-1, Tri-City leads Sioux Falls in the second period. 4-0, Waterloo leads Cedar Rapids. 3-1, Youngstown in front of Green Bay. The Capitals would love a Green Bay comeback in this one. In that one, I should say, not in this one. Of course, the Capitals will host Green Bay next Friday night, and Youngstown will actually host this U17 squad next weekend in a home-and-home, so it'll be one game at home, one game on the road. An early lead for Dubuque. 2-0, they lead the Chicago Steel. The Steel got the better of Dubuque last night, and game one of that two-game set between the two sides. As the Capitals will have an offensive zone draw here, 11:27, period number one, 1-0 the score. Capitals top line out there. That's Uhlenkamp, Hong, Bernovic, Ramsey, and Jamieson for Madison. As a face-off to the left of Slavic in goal. The two-team centermen O'Neal and Hong face off one back. Brnovik near side. Jamison sends one towards the goal, deflected along the way. I don't know if it ever got to Slavic. Either way, the Capitals had a good chance at it. Unable to strike, though, as they'll have to regroup at neutral ice after the U.S. able to clear out to neutral. Played off the end wall. Hong beneath the goal line looking for options. Spins off of a couple of players there from the U.S. Plays up the far side wall, but Landon Hafley will intercept as he'll play back to his defenseman and Garrett Lindberg, who got the assist on the Potter goal earlier this period as the U.S. leads 1-0 here. Period number 1. Capitals haven't actually trailed at any point to this USNTDP U17 squad this season. Their only loss came in overtime as Brnovik sends one towards the goal. It goes wide. Mackey pinches down, holds the line. Unable to on the second attempt, though, is now a 2-on-1 back the other way. Fondrick has Gallant with him, rings one off the post, bounces all the way back where Slavic will hold for a defenseman. 9.5 into period number 1. The U17's that close to finding Twine and making it a 2-0 game. Conrad Fondrick into the offensive zone again. Fondrick has it poked away by Mackey, but he'll get it back into the corner. Up the far side wall, intercepted. Delaney will start up the far side through neutral ice and into the offensive zone. Has Kuzma on the near side. Instead, he'll shoot it himself. A shot, I think, blocked along the way. Never got to Slavic. Delaney goes and picks up the change in the corner. Toby shot, blockered away. Toby looking for his first USHL goal. Still in this one. Toby, a vet in the league, a third-season defenseman. Of course, the first 2 of those years with the National Team Development Program. Nagel has it poked away. Phillips takes it up the far side wall. Moore to the middle, into the offensive zone. Murtagh fans on his shot. Barloggy able to chip out towards neutral. A body shoved up against the wall, and the Capitals off to the races. Jack Murtagh has got the wheels to beat him, though. Kuzma gets it back. Nagel in the corner, trying to work for possession back for the Capitals. Has it tied up in the couple of players in the feet there, but it escapes the zone. Charlie Michaud settles things down. Offside would the U.S. be if they're touching the puck. Instead, Michaud stick handles his way out of that one. Will achieve the red line and send that one down in deep. 9:05 to go, period number 1. 1-0 the score as the Capitals trail the USNTDP U17s early on in this one. Icing upcoming on the U17s as the Capitals will have an offensive zone draw upcoming. Looks like the Capitals will be fine to keep their third line of Jack Brandt, Rainers, Rullers, and Diego Johnson up front to match with the William Moore unit. Will Moore, Ithaca, New York native, one of the better players on this U17 squad. Murtagh and Stewart at his flanks. Rullers and Moore, the 2 team centermen. Brandt lined up behind Rullers. 3 to Moore's left and 1 to Moore's right. As the faceoff snap back by Moore, picked up by Murtagh, ringing around the far side, but pinching there for the Capitals. Sean Ramsey plays it up the wall. It goes off the window. Trying to escape the zone are the U.S. They're able to get it out, but they'll regroup, and Ramsey will play it up the far side to Diego Johnson. The Capitals would have been offside as icing instead on Madison. No change allowed. Right idea, wrong execution for the Capitals. Would have been icing, would have been offsides if Diego Johnson goes and touches it. Would have eventually worked out where the faceoff would have been back inside the defensive zone either way. Capitals unable to make a change. But with 8:39 in period number 1, you're still hoping your guys have your legs, especially in the second of a 3-game weekend. Rollers and Potter, the 2 team centermen, lined up to the right of Carson Mustard's goal on the far side faceoff circle. One back is the faceoff by Potter. He'll ring it around the kick plate to the near side where Stout continues along for Jack Brandt and the Capitals out at neutral ice. As forwards for the Capitals go get a change. Diego Johnson, the lone forward, to stay on. Potter will reverse course and eventually enter the zone on the near side via Horkov. Horkov up top, shot from Trethewey goes wide. Bracco pinches on the far side, feeds it out front, doesn't ever get to its intended target of Potter, who's looking to pocket his second of the night. Instead, it comes out to neutral ice where the U17's forced to regroup. Potter, near side Trethewey. Through neutral ice now, intercepted by Rice, and the Capitals with a 3-on-2. Near side Lamb. Lamb feeds it backdoor long out front, trying to slam it home, and Slavic holds on for a whistle. 7:54 to go, period number 1. 1-0 our score as a faceoff upcoming in the offensive zone for Madison. Faceoff will be on the near side to the right of Slavic. You see Aiden Long on Flow Hockey getting a little feisty there after the whistle. Hold them up, boys. A warning given to the U.S. Face-off tied up and won back by the Capitals. Long able to get things back to Colton Jamieson. He'll play it up the near side to Long. Long trying to regroup, but he'll eventually play it forward. Sam Rice is a bit too far in front of him as Lindbergh can settle things down for the U.S. Phillips up that far side wall to be icing if it gets there, and the Capitals win the race. Sure enough, Colton Jamieson gets to the hash marks. First in an offensive zone draw to follow for Madison. 7:36 to go, period number one. 1-0 our score as the faceoff will be on the far side to the left of Slavic when we do return to action. James Hong in the top unit out there for Madison. For the U17s, I talked with Greg Moore last week a little bit about it there. Unafraid to do some wonky things with the line chart. Trethewey was the extra defenseman, but lined up as the first pair. I mentioned that to him, and he said, hey, with this team, you really don't want anybody to get the label of a fourth liner. And really, none of these players are fourth liners. Of the 2007 age group in the U.S., they're supposed to be some of the best skaters up and down the lineup. As the Capitals send this one down inside the offensive zone. Schock plays it over to the near side, poked off the stick along the way, but at neutral ice, James Mackey settles things down. He'll play it down in deep into the offensive zone. Schock kind of wrestling with James Hong along the way. It's picked up by Stewart. He'll play it through neutral, intercepted there by Nagel. Nagel, far side to Hong. Hong drops back, tried to get it to Bernovic. It's interrupted along the way. The Capitals go try to get possession back, but instead, a nice play by Conrad Fondrick carries into the offensive zone on the stick of Kwasnika. Kwasnika gets it back in the corner as Musser played it into the corner. Mackey goes and tries to dig things back out for the Capitals. Hong will play it up the near side wall as the Capitals will force the U.S. to regroup. Second line out there mostly for the Caps as Bernovic still remains on that far side wing position. Is he'll get possession, play it to the middle, finds a player in red, white, and blue. Fondrick has it roll off the end of his stick as Bernovic carries to Kuzma. Kuzma leaves there for Nagel. Bernovic will go for a change now as the Capitals will try to get possession up that far side wall. In the feet that time of Barloggy. Barloggy kind of skated over it, unaware of where it was, but luckily for the Capitals, Chris Delaney there. Far side now, Nagel. John Stout jumps up into the play. Toe drag shot. Nice save by Slavic. Holds on for a whistle. 5:48 to go. Period number one. Offensive zone draw upcoming for the Capitals. Face off on the far side. Nice little jolt of energy from this second line for Madison. Delaney kind of stretched the neutral zone all the way to the blue line and then backtracked to start the rush for Madison. With some speed and some pace, the Capitals able to get into the offensive zone, just unable to execute anything on that initial attempt as Lindbergh has a face-off one back to him in the defensive zone for the U.S. They'll send it down in deep thanks to the stick of Stewart. Stewart, a Denver commit for this team in the U17s. The Capitals will come through neutral ice. Send that one down in deep. Slavic will play it up the far side wall. Dangerous play with Kuzma right there, but executed it well. Moore turns it over. Lindbergh will play the body as Kuzma now into the offensive zone. Tried to play it back for Diego Johnson, but it comes all the way to the red line as the Capitals come through neutral. Kuzma on the far side. Ramsey and him cross paths a couple of times there, and too much traffic on that far side wall. The Capitals try to hold the line. It was Diego Johnson as Ramsey had jumped up in the play. A nice job by Kuzma, but he loses an edge in the process. Epperson on the far side feeds it out front. Shot sits there on the rebound. Epperson unable to slam it home. Bertag in there as well. The Capitals start up the near side wall as Jamieson carries through neutral ice. Brandt on the near side to reverse. Throws a shoulder into Potter. They'll settle things down once again. Just south of 5 to go. Period number one. 1-0 the score in favor of the U17s. It was Potter with the lone goal in this one. The Capitals will look to get one here late in the first, though, as Jack Brandt stick checks a player there. And the two kind of get tangled up for a brief moment as the play escapes their little vicinity. And Toby, deep inside his own defensive zone, will go and play up against the wall, forcing the puck to go up against the window. And the Capitals able to clear out to neutral ice, but that's where the U.S. regains possession. Keene to O'Neill, who will carry into the offensive zone. Rowler's unable to get a stick on it as it goes into the corner. Pecking that one up is Toby, fed out front. someone home in the form of Drew Schock, and now the Capitals off to the races. Lincoln Keene and Aiden Long. Keene wins that race, and the linesman sends it in for the Capitals. Drew Schock there to recover, but intercepted along the way. Aiden Long waiting for his players to get out of the zone, and he'll send it down in deep as the Capitals go to the forecheck. Rice sends a body into Drew Schock. Schock falls to the ice surface. The Capitals try to take over possession at neutral ice. Brendan Lamb gets things back for Madison and drops back for Barloggy. Barloggy near side to Long. He'll send it down into the far side corner. Bracco and Rice will have some fun in the corner before on the near side. Trethaway picks up for the U.S. He's intercepted by Rice. Rice up top now for Barloggy. Sends one towards the goal, deflected, and never got to its intended target. And back the other way comes Conrad Fondrick. Onside are the U.S. Kwasnica, Fondrick down in the corner. Thought about the wraparound try, but takes it along the far side half wall. Barloggy slams him up against the wall in the process, but the U.S. keeps possession. Kwasnica out front. Gets it back after an attempted shot from Gallant goes wide. They'll clear it down the length of the ice for him anyway, though. Slavic goes to play in the corner, and he'll leave it for Phillips. Phillips has some pressure put on him right away by Gavin Eulenkamp. Up the far side wall, the U.S. will just extend the zone and take it out through neutral ice. Gallant drops there. Far side more. Shot deflected up and out of play for a whistle. 2:35 to go. Period number one. 1-0 our score. Capitals trail the U17s. There's a faceoff upcoming to the right of Musser in goal. Coming up at intermission on Caps Radio on YouTube, we'll have your first period scoring summary or out-of-town scoreboard thanks to our friends at madcapshockey.com, as well as just taking an overall glance at the game here this evening. Faceoff one back by the U.S. Intercepted, and now Eulenkamp off to the races, has Lindbergh to beat. Shot from Eulenkamp goes over the cage, goes oddly off of his stanchion, and on the near side, the Capitals take back over at least for a second. Will Moore had some pressure put on him by James Hong and Austin Bernovic. Bernovic in the slot, feeds it far side. Eulenkamp, backhanded shot, deflected before he could get it off, and Ramsey on the far side plays it to the middle. Holds the zone for a brief moment, but back the other way come the U17s, a 2-on-1. Moore and Murtagh. Murtagh backhands that one out front. Stewart tries to slam it home, and now back the other way come the Capitals. Bernovic achieves the red line. Stout sends it down in deep. All but Bernovic go for a change for Madison. Is under two remains. Bernovic went to play the puck and almost got blown up by Murtagh. He's up the far side wall now. Stewart will enter the offensive zone. Stewart hit into the wall by Toby. Toby picks up possession and will start back the other way. Has Delaney in front of him. Toby throws on the brakes once he gets to the red line. Tries to backhand it down in deep, but not enough Kuzma through his legs. Tries to send one towards the goal instead. Deflected along the way, and Potter takes over for the U.S. Settling things down. Throws one on goal. Chalk it up as a shot on net for the Capitals. As back the other way comes Barnett. Barnett, far side. Epperson has it jump around a bit. Far side, Potter will send it into the near side where it'll be on possession of Colton Jamieson. Jamieson tied up there for a moment, but the Capitals get possession. Chris Delaney on far side now. Toby for Kuzma. Kuzma worried about the body check that he was going to receive. Kind of poked at it, and the U.S. able to send down because of it. Jamieson back beneath the goal line, forces Bell to come back and play possession all the way down. The Capitals will send this one. It deflects onto goal. Offensive zone draw comes from a clearance attempt as Max Nagel stretched the zone for Madison. 48.5 seconds to go, period number one. 1-0 our score. The U.S. in the lead over Madison. Faceoff will be on the near side to the right of Slavic in goal. Hold them up, boys. A stick down in the near side corner. Equipment manager Cam Batty gets a hold of it, hands it off to James Hong, who lost his twig in the process. Rollers and O'Neill, the two teams, centerman, as the linesman drops the puck and we're back underway. Played off the end wall to the far side. Bracco starts up that far side, and Halfley steps off the far side wall, feeds it to the near side where Lindbergh has his pocket picked there by Diego Johnson. A nice job, though, by Halfley to drop back as they'll just clear the zone. The Capitals take back over there. On the near side, Diego Johnson into the offensive zone via Charlie Michaud dump in. Michaud Up top now, Mackey sends one towards the goal, deflected by a shin pad along the way. I don't know if it ever got to Slavic as the Capitals go to work in the corner. Far side, Bracco chips it up the far side wall, chipped around Michaud at the point as Johnson backtracks all the way inside his own defensive zone. Thought about playing it to Mackey and plays it up the near side instead as it goes all the way down in deep. 3 seconds and 2. That'll expire the time in period number 1. Madison trails to the USNTDP U17s by a score of 1-0 through 20 minutes of play. Let's see how we got there thanks to our friends in the back room at Rush Media here in a moment. Musser, you see, does a nice job early on in this one from that overhead angle. He was pestered early and often, but it's a backdoor feed from Lindbergh to Potter. The lone difference in that one, Potter almost misses the goal on that one, but doesn't matter with the what-ifs. As long as you find that 4x6 vacancy behind Carson Musser, you're able to lead at intermission number 1. That'll do it for our first period coverage on Caps Radio. We'll have your intermission coverage for you on Flow Hockey. We'll see you in the second. Caps trail 1-0. Back here on the Capitals Broadcast Network, it's time for your first intermission report, thanks to our friends at Floor and Decor. Come and explore our unmatched selection of unmatched quality, all at low prices. Unmatched low prices. Our friends at Floor and Decor, now open in Monona and online at flooranddecor.com. Caps trail 1-0 through our first 20 minutes here in Middleton. Colin Potter, the lone tally from Lindbergh at the 7:37 mark of period number 1. Horkov also with an assist as the Capitals trail 1-0 here in this one. Out-of-town scoreboard, thanks to our friends at MadCapsHockey.com. Upcoming is the U17s outshoot Madison 7-6 in that first period of play. 4-2 at the end of 2 between Fargo and Des Moines. Fargo in the lead there. 2-2 at the end of 2 between the U18s and Muskegon. The U18s at home in that one, which is why the U17s are here in Middleton. 1-1 Omaha and Lincoln. 5 minutes left in the second there in that one. 3-1 Tri-City leads Sioux Falls at the end of 2 there. 5-0 at the end of 2 between Waterloo and Cedar Rapids. Waterloo with the lead 5-0, as I mentioned, at the end of 2 in Youngstown. 3-1 the score there. And 2-0 Dubuque leads Chicago through 20 minutes of play. That'll do it for our first intermission report. We'll be back with a second here on the Capitals Radio Network. Back here at Bob Suter's Capital Ice Arena as the Capitals facing off against the U17s here this evening, as the U17s getting the better of Madison in that first 20 minutes of play. Let's take a look at how we got there in period number 1. It was Carson Muster standing on his head early and often throughout that period. The U.S. leads in shots only 7-6, but this 7th shot, Cullen Potter taps one home. Lindbergh with the feed that way. I think it might have went wide if Muster didn't get a stick on it. Of course, Muster, you got to get something on it if you're Muster. It goes in the back of the net. Capitals trail 1-0 through 20 minutes of play. Capitals still a bit slow to get out onto the ice here for period number 2. 1-0 our score. As the U.S. will travel right to left across your radio dial and Flow Hockey screen here in period number 2. The Capitals left to right. And still looking for the Capitals to come out onto the ice surface here. I think they're timing the Caps as here they are. As Madison back out on the ice surface. Caps will travel left to right, as mentioned here in the second period. They trail. Period of the long change can produce some offense here in the USHL. You get players caught out there at the wrong time. Long change. You never know what can happen. So let's take a look at each team scoring by period here this season. Madison 71-57 in the second periods this season. The U.S. 85-102. So it's been a high-scoring period for the U.S. And they definitely have a negative deficit in that one. It was 1-1 last night. Greg Moore chatting with the linesman, trying to get a penalty called on the Capitals. I don't think there will be one. But Madison will start period number 2 with the same crew they started period number 1 with. Mo Bernovic and Hong up front. Ramsey and Stout on the back end instead of Toby and Jamieson. Muster back in between the posts. Fondrick's unit up front for the U.S. to start things here in the second, and we're underway. Back here in Middleton as the Capitals send that one down in deep to start period number 2. On the far side, they send it up the wall. Trethaway's breakout pass unsuccessful. Hong unable to hold the zone. Mason Moe in on that as well. On that far side, the Capitals come through neutral up that far side wall. James Hong puts some pressure on the player there in Trethaway as Hong chases after it, feeds it out front. Bernovic down low for Moe. Moe feeds it to Ramsey on the near side wall, but he's unable to hold his zone. 30 seconds in, the Capitals forced to regroup at neutral ice. Hong into the offensive zone. Trethaway down in deep, will take it behind the goal. Plays it off the end wall to his defensive partner there, and up that far side will be icing when it gets there. Sure enough, it does. 47 seconds into period number 2. Offensive zone draw for Madison upcoming 1-0. The US U17s lead the Caps here in this one. Face-off will be on the far side to the right of Slavic in goal. Slavic 6 for 6 in period number 1. The other end, Muster 6 for 7. Kuzma's unit out there for Madison. Fondrick's unit forced to stay out there for the U.S. Nagel trying to play it in the corner. A nice poke check by Lincoln Keene as the U.S. starts up the far side. They'll go for a wholesale change as the Capitals start up the far side wall. Nagel achieves the red line, but he'll backtrack to the defenseman in Nathan Toby. Spent 2 years with the NTDP before getting drafted in the first round of the Phase 2 draft this past summer by Madison. Horkoff ahead, poked away for a brief moment. Sits on the stick of Max Nagel. Nagel looking for options will backtrack to the far side to Jamieson. Near side Toby as the Capitals looking for a route to start up ice. Delaney near side to Kuzma into the offensive zone. Kuzma poked off of his stick, and now a 2-on-1 quickly turns into a 2-on-2 as Michaud off the bench fresh after the change. Fed out front, no one home for the U.S. The Capitals start back the other way. It's in the feet of Barnett for a brief moment. Icing upcoming on Madison though. 18-17, period number 2, remaining here in the second period. 1-0, the U-17's in the lead. That goal in the first period coming off the stick of Cullen Potter. 9th USHL goal this season from Horkov and Lindbergh. Horkov's 5th assist, Lindbergh's 7th. Face off on the far side. Potter, the Michigan State commit. Lindbergh, a North Dakota commit. Horkov uncommitted. Face off on the far side to the left of Muster in goal. Moore and Kuzma, the two-team centermen. Kuzma trying to get the linesman on his side. Is the face-off eventually won by Kuzma and sent up the window by Michaud. A couple of caps will go for a change as that one catches up on an edge to negate icing. Maceo Phillips starts up the near side wall, gets a deflection along the way. Rather, no deflection from Jake Stewart. Icing on one end, countered with an icing on the other. 1:57 into period number 2. 1-0 our score. Elsewhere in the USHL, of course, the game that Caps fans should be paying the most attention to. The game in Youngstown between the Gamblers and Phantoms. Phantoms, fourth place Phantoms, 4 points ahead of Madison in the standings. Lead 3-1. You can scoreboard watch all you want, but you got to take care of business here at Cap Ice here this evening. Brandt down low, feeds it out front, looking for Rullers. Nice job defensively by Stewart to pick up possession and start back the other way. A bit slow to get up and behind the play is Barnett. He'll make his way to the Capitals, or rather U.S. bench. Michaud trying to jump up into the play offensively. A little too far in front of him was an intended pass from Rainer's Rullers as the U.S. sends it down in deep after they took over at neutral ice. Michaud in the near side corner, backhands that one to Rullers. Rullers, the Latvian, through neutral into the offensive zone on the far side. Rullers beneath the goal line looking for options. Rullers, far side, now Stout. Stout with a shot, scores! John Stout, second USHL goal, ties us at 1. 2:38 into period number 2. The Minnesota native strikes from the top of the far side face-off circle, beats him glove side, a nice screen out front from Diego Johnson, and we're all square at 1. Face-off comes back to center ice. Slavic had no clue where that was. No clue where it was coming from. No clue when it went past him. He heard the horn go off. I think he had a good clue then. As up the near side, the Capitals chip that one down in deep. Long puts some pressure on Keene. Keene up the near side as it's chipped off the window. Escapes the zone as Stout recovers possession for the Capitals. Long deflects it down in deep, and the Capitals go on the forecheck. Shock up the far side wall. Keene continues it along. Hitting the back that time of Kwasniko's Aiden Long, but he pulled up in time that it was a little bit awkward, but not a penalty worthy. Far side, Gallant fed it back to Shock. Whiffed on the shot was Murtag, and now the Capitals back the other way. Long has Lamb in front of him, tried to feed it to him. Fondrick got in the path of that pass. He'll start up ice now. Toe drags around. Brendan Lamb carries into the offensive zone. Fondrick got the scoring started for the USNTDP last night, but a penalty upcoming, believe, on Gallant out front. I believe Gallant's going to head to the box for at least 2. Cross-check the back of Aiden Long's head when Long was already down. That's going to get you 2 minutes just about every time. I believe Madison should be heading to their first power play of the night. Long kind of came over the top, but Gallant over the top of him. And now 3:31 into period number 2. Madison heads to their first power play of the night. Madison's power play on the season comes in 9th in the USHL, 21.5% for the USNTDP. Their penalty kill, 75.1%. Entering play this weekend, the Capitals power play 4 for 8 against this U17 squad, 0 for 2 last night, so still at 40% is this Capitals power play against this specific penalty kill. Face-off won back by Hong as the first unit starts things off for Madison. Ramsey has Bernovic on the near side, Hong on the far. Bernovic has possession. Brandt and Johnson join him out there up front of the net. Long side. It's Hong. Near side it comes for Bernovic. Takes it into the corner. Spins back up top. Looks for a shooting lane or a passing lane, and he feeds it down low to Bernovic. Bernovic on the half wall. Back down low, Brandt. Brandt looking for options back to Bernovic on the half wall. Surveys the field of play, looking for a shooting lane. Down low, Brandt, backhand, feeds it out front, goes over the goal. Johnson will recover the miss for the Caps, though. Hong, far side, plays it up top for Ramsey. Near side, Brnovic, one-time shot, kicked away by Slavic. Brnovic pokes it around, but the U.S. back the other way on a 2-on-2. Stewart will just poke it down in deep. A wholesale line change for the 17s. 1:10 to go on the power play for Madison as Sean Ramsey starts up ice. Brnovic has it poked off of his stick, but he'll keep possession throughout up the near side wall. Now the Capitals try to enter the zone. Johnson stutters a little bit along the way. Dragged down to the ice surface. No call will come, and the Capitals will start rolling unit number 2 out onto the ice. 50 seconds to go here on the man advantage. Delaney feeds it back. Ramsey has a jump over his stick. He'll go for a change now as Michaud joins the Caps out there. Kuzma will carry into the offensive zone. Kuzma, far side, intercepted, hits the scoreboard though, so an offensive zone draw for Madison. A change will be allowed. 37 seconds remain on the power play for Madison. Far side, Gallant with the penalty. Still having to serve some time in the sin bin. Nagel, Kuzma, Delaney, Long, and Michaud for Madison. Fondrick, Lindberg, Kwasnika, and Barnett for the NTDP. Michaud up top, far side, Delaney. Delaney back up top for Michaud. Near side, Kuzma, one-time shot blocked up into the netting above the glass. Face-off upcoming on the near side to the left of the goaltender. Once again, Slavic with 28 seconds to go on the kill. Goaltender always has to be your best penalty killer, but not if the puck never gets to him. As the faceoff won back by the NTDP, they'll send it all the way down. 20 to go on the power play as Michaud picks up deep inside his own defensive zone. 14:45 to go in the period. All tied up at 1. John Stout able to tie things for Madison is up the far side while Delaney into the offensive zone with a whole bunch of speed, but Bell able to benefit from a poke check of one of his teammates, in the Capitals 0 for 1 on the power play as Gallant steps out of the box opposite the Capitals bench. Delaney, near side, Eulenkamp into the offensive zone, tried to feed it ahead for Kuzma, unable to find him. Kuzma out front, Eulenkamp shot, blocked up and out of play by Potter. Offensive zone draw coming again for Madison. 5:45 to go in period number 2. You see one of our cameramen here for Rush Media down in the corner. Shout out our whole crew. They'll get a bit of a shout out here in a little bit, but they get to show you all the fun stuff that happens here at Cap Ice. Face off on the far side to the right of Slavic in goal. Eulenkamp shot. Fanned on and back the other way come the U17s. Epperson in the near side corner. Toby slams him up against the wall. Epperson gets it back though. Epperson up top now. Trethaway surveys the field of play. Shot blocked by Lamb. Pops right up in the air. Trethaway will get possession for a moment. And the Capitals start back the other way on the stick of Brendan Lamb once again. Lamb turns it over. At neutral ice, Keene takes it behind the goal. He'll take it up that far side. Trethaway fans on it, and now the Capitals with possession in the offensive zone. A shot goes wide, near side. Toby pinches down for Madison. Plays it there where Brendan Lamb picks up, the alternate captain for the Capitals. There for Sam Rice, continues it along the kick plate, far side, Eulenkamp. Up top now, Jamieson. Jamieson looks for options, takes it to the middle. Jamieson in the high slot, a shot never gets to Slavic at first. He'll hop on top of it when eventually it settles down right at the feet of the defenseman, and we'll get a whistle. 13-25, I should say. I don't know if the second period's flying by that quick, but the Capitals already strike once in this second period. Faceoff will be in the offensive zone for Madison once again. Power play really sparks some offensive zone time for the Caps, and the goal-scoring unit out there for Madison. Brandt, Johnson, Rullers, Mackey, and Stout for the Caps. Faceoff on the far side, right of Slavic in goal. Rullers and Fondrick, the two-team centermen. Faceoff won back by the Capitals, but a nice job by O'Neill to hop up into the play as they chase after it. A bit of a line mix-up here by Greg Moore and company on the U.S. bench. Is up the near side. A pass from Brandt finds its way to James Mackey. Mackey through neutral and into the offensive zone. Down low, Fondrick plays it along to the defenseman on the far side, Lindberg. Nice job to reverse course to the near side by Lindberg as it escapes the zone, at least had a good chance to escape the zone. Did the U.S. A nice job by Diego Johnson to get a body on a player. Gets the fans here at Cap Ice applause down in section 106 up the near side. Halfley plays it into the corner. Moore now on possession. Moore battling with Rayners Rullers. Rullers picks up and starts back the other way. Brandt down in deep. Caps chase after it. Barnett plays it up that far side wall. Moore beats Rullers to it. Rullers with a couple of stick checks slows down the rush for at least a moment. He'll go for a change as the U.S. still having to regroup inside their own defensive zone. Phillips up the near side, icing if it gets there. Sure enough, it will. 12:18 to go, period number 2. 1-1 our score as an offensive zone draw up coming for Madison. Face-off will be on the near side. Nice hit here from Diego Johnson. Take a seat, Landon Halfley. A replay brought to you by our friends at Play It Again Sports. Play It Again Sports is your neighborhood sporting goods store offering new and quality used equipment. Make sure to stop by their location on O'Donnell Road. A quick shot off the draw. Eventually snapped back by the Capitals. The body tied up on that far side. The Capitals trying to move forward. A nice job by Mason Moe to at least halt the rush for the U.S. for a brief moment before Phillips eventually sends one in along the kick plate. Musser goes to play it. Musser will play it up that far side wall. It'll go out towards neutral where Keene on possession. Keene takes it back, turns it over at the line. Moe on the far side intercepts. Moe pokes it around a bit, but a nice job by the U.S. and Epperson to slow things down. Intercepted. Hong, far side, looking for an opportunity. Bernovic high slot, hits the side of the goal. Hong beneath the goal line finds it right away, though. Hong on possession on the half wall. Up top, Barloggy. Barloggy to Hong on the near side half wall. Far side trying to find a pinching Charlie Michaud. Makes its way into the corner instead. Michaud gets possession. Bernovic out front looking for options. He's beneath the goal line. He feeds it there. Moe with a chance. And two bodies will slam back and forth. It's Schock and Moe going at it. Schock loses his twig. And we'll hit our media timeout here in period number 2. As I mentioned, it was time to take a look at our camera crew here for Rush Media. Why not take a look at our whole crew, led by Jake Salm. Here are our camera operators, Bryce, Bryn, Kyle, and not here tonight, but doing a great job all season long is our friend Corey. On the replays, 1s and 2s in the back is Curtis. As the Capitals broadcast always directed here this season by our friend Jake Salm. I need to lean forward here too. You can't see him there. There we go. That might be a better angle for our camera crew. Trying to find my way on screen. There we are. You can see the camera, it can see you, right? So the Capitals glad to always have our crew at Rush Media. Our director, Jake, and the 1s and 2s can flip a camera at the drop of a dime, can change from one angle to another. Our camera crew giving him the best angles in the league. Every replay that we see, Curtis has been on that this season. He was a cam crew mainly last season, but doing a great job with the replay here this season. They get the highlight package together for you at the beginning and ends of each period for you. So always doing a great job. Thanks to our friends at Rush Media. I know it's our friend Jake Salm's last regular season game. The Capitals would love to have a couple of home games here in the playoffs. Trending in the wrong direction at the moment, but you never know. Maybe Green Bay comes back from 3-1 in Youngstown. Capitals did it last week, down 3-1 in Youngstown, and did it with 45 seconds left in the period. Nonetheless, Sean Ramsey was a big part of that. So is his second line as Nagel sends one towards the goal. Kicked away by Slavic up the near side wall. Nagel will hold the line for Madison. Trethewey plays the body, and the Capitals trying to take that one out. On the near side half wall, Nagel gets it back. Tried to feed it into the corner. Trethewey ties him up again. Battling for possession are these two squads deep inside USA territory. And up that far side, Fondrick has to backtrack for a moment with 10:45 to go here in the second period. On the near side, Bracco takes it to the far, and now through neutral ice is Fondrick. Fondrick carries in, drops there, shot from Bracco, gloved along the way by Musser. Delaney and Gallant going at it out front. Gallant arguing his case to the official. similar-sized fellas for each squad, respectively. Gallant listed at 5'8", Delaney 5'6". Not going to say Gallant towered over Delaney by 2 inches, though. Face off on the far side to the left of Musser in goal. Hold him up, boys. A warning given to the U.S. on that far side. Face off one back by the Capitals. Toby will take it up the near side wall to Lamb, and Lamb starts through neutral ice, cuts his way towards the middle, has it poked around a bit, but he'll chase after it as Lindbergh tries to get it out of the zone. They do just snap, but the Capitals recover possession there. As now Rice through neutral has Lamb in front of him. Lamb has Long on the near side. Lamb kind of whiffs at it as a slash kind of got in his way. The Capitals bench not liking the no call, but Lamb with a chance now nonetheless. Block shot. Lamb will glove it down. Gloves his own miss down and feeds it to the far side now for Mackey. Mackey pinches down his shot. Stopped by the logo, or the diagonal USA across the chest of Slavic as Mackey and Phillips shove a bit. Don't believe a penalty will come from this, but a face-off in the offensive zone nonetheless for Madison. Face-off on the far side. To the right of Slavic in goal. Just north of halfway to go in the second period. Johnson, Brandt, Rullers, Ramsey, and Stout for the Caps. Head coaches for each squad being talked to. I believe the benches for both squads as well. Rullers and Moore, the two-team centermen in the circle. Face off one back by the Capitals. Brandt to the far side, now Stout. Stout with a shot. That's stopped along the way by Slavic. Johnson makes his presence known in front of the goal. Scored last night, getting to the dirty areas, hoping that a puck dropped free for him there. Wisconsin commit will have to make his way to the far side. Half wall, though, is a face-off once again. Just 5 seconds after the last on the far side. Moore and Rullers once again in this circle. Face-off one back by Rullers. Johnson with a shot right away. Knuckles into the corner as Stewart sends it all the way down. The Caps chase back after it. As Musser will play to Stout. Stout looks for options, plays up that far side to Ramsey. Ramsey looks for options ahead for Johnson. Into the offensive zone, Johnson takes the Fort St. James, BC native to the near side and unable to find anything, and back the other way come the U17s. Murtagh up the near side wall into the corner. Now Moore feeds it out front. Stewart looking for his second goal at Cap Ice to this season. Scored the lone goal back on March 23rd for the U17s as the Capitals won that one. They've won the last 3 against this U17 squad and tied up at the moment. Last 29 minutes of regulation will decide this. If not, we'll head to overtime and a shootout still at that point. Ahead for Brnovic. James Hong passed it there. Tried to return favor for Hong. Hong will go chase after it in the corner. Just a bit too far in front of him. Hong poked around a bit, popped up into the air. Brnovic plays to Hong in the corner. Hong down low for Brnovic once again. Brnovic chases after it, and the Capitals unable to get possession, but eventually Brnovic does battle back for it. Hong in the slot looking for options. Hong plays it down in the corner where it's gloved down by Mo. Mo up the near side, half wall, plays down, cuts his way towards the slot. Intercepted along the way. Capitals will hold the line, though. Brnovic down in the far side corner. Battled off possession for a brief moment. The Capitals trying to get it back, but Potter going to have a chance to clear the zone. They'll take advantage of clearing the zone. Hand pass on the Capitals. Faceoff coming at center ice. 8:18 to go, period number 2. 1-1 our score. Mason Moe getting a little bit of a run with the top unit for Madison. Started the game up there with the top line. Gavin Eulenkamp listed as the first-line right winger. When Mo does go out there, Bernabik does move over to his offside wing. He's down on the near side. Michaud turns it over. Gallant turns it over right back, though, and the Capitals back the other way. Kuzma unable to get a good grip of his skates, and now back the other way. A fanned pass allows Madison possession at neutral ice. Near side, Nagel. Nagel looking for options as he carries down deep inside the offensive zone. Leaves there Delaney. Delaney tried to center it out front for Kuzma. They are just on different pages, though. As back the other way come the U17s. Gallant, far side. Into the offensive zone. Jamison there for Madison. Up that far side, deflected down in deep by Nagel. The Caps will get a couple of changes as Kuzma puts some pressure on. Nagel right behind him, trailing the play. He's back the other way. The U17s have a stick dropped along the way, and the Capitals back into the offensive zone. Slavic up the near side wall. Barnett continues along. Toby gets that one up in his grill. Holds the line, I guess, but at what cost for Toby? Of course, the U.S. team all wears the cages. The Capitals not the case. Jamison down in the corner. Will play to the near side. Now Toby up the near side wall. Lamb waits for it at the half wall. Steps off and feeds to Jamison. A bit too far in front of him, though, and J-Mo has to chase to the far side wall. That's where the U.S. will take back over on possession. Offside on the play, a bit too antsy on the far side was Andrew O'Neill. Drew Schock had jumped up into the play offensively as well. 6:49 to go, period number 2. 1-1 our score as an offensive zone draw won't be had for the U.S., but they'll be right outside the offensive zone after the offside call. Rice and Moore, the two-team centermen. Face-off one back by Moore. Fed over to the near side from Lindbergh to Bracco, and down in deep where Carson Musser on possession. Musser plays through neutral now to the near side. Is Lamb tries to continue things. Moore does a nice job to interrupt that neutral ice, and now Murtagh down to the near side corner. The U.S. changes defenseman. Is Moore down up against the wall. Rice does a nice job to get involved, but the U.S. still with possession. Stewart up against the wall. Stewart feeds it to Murtagh. Murtagh's shot goes over the cage and hits the glass. Phillips at neutral ice plays it down in deep, and Musser will hold before Ramsey can go pick up for the Madison. Just north of 6 to go here. Second period of play. Long sends it down in deep. A wholesale change for the Caps as Johnson on the near side picks up possession. It looked like at least Horkov lifts his stick, and back the other way come the U17s once again. At points this period, the Capitals looked like they were going to be in the driver's seat. Instead, Potter with a chance to almost give the U.S. the lead back would be his second of the night as Barnett turns things back up the other way. Near side, Potter into the offensive zone. Potter takes it down beneath the goal line, feeds it out front, or at least attempted to. Mackey got in the way of that one. Tried the breakout pass to the near side to Brandt. It deflected along the way. Brandt has to backtrack for it, and the Capitals rush. Halted there as Mackey turns it over. Into the offensive zone, Epperson. Epperson throws on the brakes, looks for a passing lane. Blocked along the way. A second shot attempt stopped by Carson Musser and held on to for a whistle. 5:19 to go, period number 2. 1-1 the score as a faceoff upcoming in the defensive zone for Madison. Although it looks like a player will be heading to the penalty box. Diego Johnson being escorted to the penalty box. Cross-checking the call on Johnson. So the U.S. to their first power play of the night. Gallant, Kwasnika, Potter, Bracco, and Fondrick for the U17s. Toby, J-Mo, Eulenkamp, and Rullers to kill for Madison. Face up on the near side. It's tied up for a brief moment as the two sides work. Eulenkamp on the near side trying to put some heavy pressure on Bracco. He does just that and forces the U.S. to touch up as the U.S. touches up and they blow the play dead. Something they've been doing more. If I were the U.S., why not just not touch up and get the free offside with the faceoff just outside the offensive zone instead of having to go all the way back down with some more time killed off the penalty. Rullers and Potter, the two-team centermen, Face-off won by Rollers, and the Capitals with a chance to clear down the length of the ice. It pops up in the air as Jamison gloves that one down, and he'll send it all the way down. So puck don't lie, I guess is how they would refer to that, as Slavic leaves for Bracco. And they'll start back up just about half a minute through their power play opportunity. Their first power play of the night, 0 for 1 last night on the man advantage were the U17s. Gallant beneath the goal line, shoved up against the wall. The Capitals with a chance to clear. Bracco unable to hold, and Eulenkamp, or rather that being Brendan Lamb, puts some pressure on Bracco and forces him all the way back behind his own team's goaltender in Slavic. He'll drop back and gathering some speed as Potter. Potter has it poked off of his stick, and now Brendan Lamb off to the races the other way. Lamb tried to play to Rice. It would have been a 2-on-1, but Rice went for a change. As now the Capitals on their heels back the other way. Nice attempt for the Capitals. We're halfway through the Diego Johnson minor penalty. Bracco, far side on the half wall there. It's Fondrick down low. Fed there, trying to feed it to Potter on the near side, top of the circle. Instead, Potter will ring it around to the far. Fondrick plays back out of the zone. Bracco forced back inside his own defensive zone before he'll touch up. Jamison carries into the offensive zone via Aiden Long. Far side Rollers. Rollers will kill some more time as it rides along the apron. Too many men on the ice for the USNTDP. Ends the power play early. Tough to argue the too many men there. 6 players down inside the defensive zone. 4-on-4 for the next 20 seconds. Will be followed up with a minute 40 of a Capitals power play. It'll be the second of the night for Madison. An abbreviated power play for the U.S. sends Potter to the penalty box to serve the bench minor for too many men. For the Capitals, they'll send out their first power play unit. Diego Johnson will complete the first power play unit in 20 seconds. Stewart, Moore, Barnett, and Trethaway for the 4-on-4 time. So only one defenseman out there for 4-on-4 for the first 20 seconds for the Caps. Hong to take the draw against Moore. Faceoff tied up and eventually won back by the Capitals. Ramsey takes it back inside the defensive zone, turns it over. The Capitals battle back for it, though, as Brandt drops back to Ramsey. 8 seconds to go of the 4-on-4 period before the Capitals are on their second power play of the night. Into the offensive zone, Jack Brandt throws on the brakes on the half wall, ties it up, tried to kick it up to the point as Diego Johnson goes and joins his squad in his first unit out there. As Johnson takes a player down, right back to the penalty box is Diego Johnson. His face is what he's holding along the way. Diego Johnson rattled that he's getting a call here. He got a skate up near the face there. So, Capitals 0 for 2 on the power play. 12 seconds of the second one. Face off on the far side. 4-on-4 for the next minute 28 unless someone else decides to make the trek over to the sin bin. O'Neill and Hong, the two-team centermen, tie up in the corner. Face-off eventually taken and won by the Capitals, I think is what they'll call that one eventually, but Hong settles things down beneath the goal line. So it's Hong, Bernovic, Stout, and Ramsey for Madison as Hong starts through neutral ice. Hong achieves the red line and will backtrack out. Hong great at 3-on-3 play this season. How is he at with 4 on the ice? I guess we'll find out here as Hong carries through neutral now. Hong into the offensive zone, throws on the brakes on the half wall. Gets it up top, Bernovic. Bernovic looking for options, circles around. Will throw on the brakes and try to shed his defender, Lindbergh, who's on top of him. Throws one that goes into the glove of the goaltender, Slavic, for a whistle. 2:27 to go in the second. 1-1 our score. 47 to go here on the minor penalty. Assessed to the U.S. 17's bench. Served by Potter, so he'll pop out and start a 28-second power play for the U.S. Is that one down in deep? The Capitals On their heels as the U.S. comes through neutral ice. They'll slow things down for a moment. Trethewey throws on the brakes at the red line as they'll send over to Fondrick. 34 seconds to go. A 4-on-4 time as Gallant feeds it to the near side. Fondrick picks back up. Fondrick roofs that one and gives the U.S. a 2-1 lead. 26 to go. A 4-on-4 time. Not a whole lot you can do about a shot like that. Fondrick backhands that over the glove of Musser. As the Capitals will be on an abbreviated penalty kill. In 26 seconds, they'll also be trailing by 1. 30 shot by Fondrick. Gives the U-17s their second lead of the night. Face-off won by the U.S. as 4-on-4 time still continuing. Epperson to the far side of the offensive zone. Jamison throws a hit there and up that far side wall. The Capitals looked like they were going to try to send it down the length of the ice. With 10 seconds to go, a 4-on-4 time. I don't know if that would be the most ideal play as the Capitals still at 4-on-4, so would be icing eventually. Eulenkamp loses a wheel at center ice, and the Caps are back on the penalty kill where we started just a couple of minutes ago. Cleared all the way down by Musser. So with a minute and a half to go, 20 seconds remain on the power play as Barnett picks up beneath their goal line. Barnett through neutral now. Thought about dropping back, instead takes it to Horkoff on the far side. One defenseman out there for this abbreviated power play for the U.S. is Barnett on the near side, pinched up against the wall. The Capitals trying to dig back for possession as the Capitals now will have a chance back the other way. Stops along the way by the linesman's foot, and now Horkoff into the offensive zone. Two defensemen make their way onto the ice as Drew Schock makes his way to the bench. On the far side, the Capitals try to battle for possession deep inside the defensive zone. Capitals come back the other way. Toby achieves the red line and backhands that one into the offensive end for Madison, but back the other way comes Moore. Moore into the offensive zone for the U-17s, throws on the brakes on the half wall. A shot deflected into the corner. Rice goes and picks up with less than 30. The Capitals have to get on the move here. Lamb through neutral into the offensive zone, has a player behind him. I don't know if he realized that Mackey was trailing him behind the play and could have just dropped back. And with 15 to go in the period, the Capitals send it into the offensive zone. Keene has some pressure put on him by Lamb. Keene will leave there as with 8 seconds to go in the period. Trethewey seems to be okay just killing the time off. I don't know if the Caps are going to be okay with it. Luckily, their opinion doesn't really matter here. What it seems is Long throws a check into the body. A 1-goal deficit after 20, a 1-goal deficit after 40. Each team adds one in the second, but the Capitals still trail by 1. Let's see how we got there in period number 2. As the Capitals, with a couple of big hits in the period, seemed like they woke up in the period as Musser with a nice glove save there. And John Stout, second goal of the season for Stout after joining the Caps after his high school season. Nice screen out front by Diego Johnson and gave the Capitals life. 1-1 the score was until that play right there at 4-on-4. Conrad Fondrick roofs that one past the glove side of Carson Musser to extend or regain the lead for the U.S. at 2-1. That'll do it for our second period coverage. We'll be back with the third on Flow Hockey intermission coverage on Caps Radio on YouTube. Coming up after this, Caps trail 2-1. Back here on the Capitals Radio Network, the Capitals trail 2-1 through 40 minutes of play here at Bob Suter's Capital Ice Arena to the U17s. Let's take a look at how we've gotten here thus far. Cullen Potter got our scoring started in the first from Horkov and Lindbergh, 7:37 into period number 1 on that one. It was the 9th of the season for Potter. Stout with a goal to tie things at 1-1 at the 2:38 mark of period number 2. Rellers and Johnson on the assists on that one. Fondrick gave the NTDP a lead back at 2-1. 12th of the year at the USHL level for Fondrick. Trethaway with the assist just past the 2-minute mark to go in the period. Fondrick finds the back of the net to give Madison the trailing score heading into intermission. Shots on goal 17-11. Madison outshot the U17s 2-1 in the period as the Capitals behind in this one 2-1. As we'll be back with the third period of play here on the Capitals Radio Network. Back here on the Capitals Broadcast Network on Flow Hockey and on Caps Radio. Thanks for joining us here this evening as the Capitals trail 2-1 as we enter the third and final period of play. Here's how we got here. An early goal from Cullen Potter gave the U.S. a 1-0 lead heading into intermission number 1. In the second, John Stout gives Madison life, ties things at 1. See Diego Johnson out front does a nice job to screen the goalie. Down at the other end, Fondrick, backhand, dirty, 2-1, NTDP through 2. 40 minutes in the books. The U17s lead through that margin of the game. Luckily, they don't decide wins and losses through 40 minutes. Or the Capitals would fall. As Youngstown already won tonight. So the Capitals need a win here today, or else the Capitals will be 6 points back of home ice. With 6 points available, the Capitals would have the tiebreaker, but of course, a lofty task for sure. Take care of business here today. That task becomes a little bit more realistic. Fondrick and Hong get us underway in period number 3 as Hong wins the drawback to Stout, and the Capitals start back the other way. Far side, Bernovic into the offensive zone. Bernovic shot that time. Rebound comes to him and goes into the corner. I believe he got one more shot on goal as Bracco's attempt to clear the zone. Unable to get out of the zone, though, as Bernovic puts some pressure on Fondrick up that far side. Gallant unable to get to the red line, but they do wave off the icing as Sean Ramsey got a piece of it along the way. Takes an odd bounce off of a stanchion. Doesn't matter. Therefore, it's Fondrick. Takes it to the far side corner. Shoved up against the wall there as the player, the forward up front for the U.S. in Kwasnica. It's through neutral ice. That one sent back. Barnett ahead for Potter. Potter backtracks a little bit before starting up that far side to Epperson, who has to spin off. 50 seconds into the period, neither side really with much of a chance here. Epperson trying to change that as the Capitals poke it off of his stick and force things back to neutral ice. Potter back into the offensive zone. His shot rings off the post. The Capitals lucky. I say there wasn't really much of a chance through the first 50 seconds. They made sure they got a chance within the first minute as the Capitals send things up the near side wall. Stout tried to clear, but a nice job by Horkov to get in the way, make it unable to clear. Kuzma up that far side wall. Potter pokes it to the line. Shot goes wide. Near side Delaney picks up for Madison and starts through neutral ice. Kuzma ahead into the offensive zone as a couple of players with him. Feeds it back to Delaney. They pick up possession, gets a deflection, and it almost goes in. Looked like that was all for naught. Sure enough, it would end up being all for naught. Capitals iced that one. 1:45 into this third and final frame of regulation. You see the shot that rings off the post. Beat Musser glove side, but at the same time, it doesn't go in the back of the net. Did you really beat him? Doesn't count as a shot on goal. Face off to the far side to the right of Musser in net. Face off won by Kuzma. Toby will play it off that far side wall. Nagel now through neutral ice will carry into the offensive zone. Sends one towards the goal, kicked through the slot where Will Moore can pick up on the top of the near side and start back the other way for his squad. Moore through neutral, stick handles around. Diego Johnson will backhand that one down in deep. On the far side, Jamison has it spun off in the slot. Shot comes from Merteg, goes wide. Far side, the Capitals on possession once again. Through neutral, turned over. Mertag back the other way. He'll just send it down in deep. It'll be on goal on Musser. He'll glove it down. Play to Jamison and start back the other way. Far side, Toby a bit too far in front of him as the Capitals enter the offensive zone on that far side. Rullers skates over it. Johnson battles back for it. Rullers back on possession. Rullers down in the corner. As it poke out of the zone, Michaud gloves down and he'll send it down in deep. 17:20 to go, period number 3. 2-1 the score as the U.S. starts back the other way. Through neutral. O'Neal into the offensive zone. Offside are the U.S. 2:51 into period number 3. 2-1, the U17's lead. Face off opposite the Capitals bench outside their defensive zone. Sam Rice snaps the draw back near side to Mackey. Mackey starts through neutral, trying to get a deflection from Aiden Long along the way. Lamb puts some pressure on Trethaway as Trethaway feeds it over to Schock. Schock starts up ice. It'll be icing if it gets there, but Musser goes and plays it. As Musser tried to play it initially up that near side wall and eventually will, but had to take his sweet time to do it as he realized the amount of oomph he'd have to put on it a little different than he thought at first. Trethaway, far side Schock, almost intercepted, but able to get it out of the zone, and Gallant carries into the offensive zone. Gallant down in the corner, Michaud sits on top of him, almost like he's riding a bull. Gets off, and the two sides battle in the corner. Far side, Long plays it up the wall, intercepted along the way. Down low, the Capitals pick things back up on Michaud's stick. Rice there for Madison, continues it out of the zone where Barnett can slow things down and start the rush back the other way with a couple of new players off the bench. Potter near side, Horkoff shot, no goal, rings off the post. Musser still well out of his cage, stands up, and Potter now, Musser without his stick, has it in his feet and eventually will gather it in as Brnovic now through neutral ice for Madison back the other way. Brnovic through his feet up that far side. A nice job by James Hong to get a piece of it, at least for a moment. Brnovic almost intercepted. Instead, it's back the other way for Potter. Horkoff, far side Epperson. Epperson loses an edge. Ramsey up the far side wall. Continued along by Brnovic to Hong. Hong down in deep. Moe chases after it for Madison. Moe in the near side corner. Battling with a pair of U.S. players. Hong comes in and gets possession for Madison. Tried to feed it out front for Brnovic, but he'll race to the far side against Stewart to get possession instead. It's won by Stewart, and back the other way come the U.S. Murtagh, fresh off the bench, down into the offensive zone. Stout picks up and will ring it around the kick plate. Far side, Brnovic waits for it. Brnovic picks his head up, drops back. That time for Stout. Stout will carry into the offensive zone. Stout in the high slot, a shot deflects wide. Brnovic down in the far side, tried to feed it out front. Slavic got a piece of it. Come to the near side as Keene carries through neutral and into the offensive zone. Keene up top now, near side, Halfley shot goes wide. Kuzma back the other way for Madison. Into the middle for Nagel, got a deflection, so no icing. Down deep, O'Neill up the near side wall, picked up along the way by the U.S. At neutral, the Capitals regained possession, and they had a 2-on-1 waiting for him, but the stick got caught up for Kuzma. Nagel, high slot shot, goes into the slot, never got to Slavic. You miss 100% of the shots that don't go on net as Delaney carries into the offensive zone. Kuzma, far side corner, works against the U.S. player, falls down to the ice surface, the puck stays there as well. Gets it back after he tried to thread the needle through the slot to Nagel. Near side, Michaud thought about pinching down, thinks better of it, backs out as Bell turns things over at neutral ice. Kuzma back on possession. Far side, Aaron passed, U.S. back into the offensive zone. Barnett into the far side corner. Barlagi plays him up against the wall. Fondrick gets possession anyway for the U.S. Fanned on his pass. Rose rolled off the end of his stick as Michaud right on top of him. Say hi to Charlie Michaud if you're watching on Flow Hockey. Right up in his grill as the two sides work in the corner. The Capitals try to dig that one out. Kuzma gets possession. Backhands it up that far side wall. Kuzma continues it out towards neutral ice. Brandt tries to spin off of it. Jack Brandt down there, slow to get up, but he is back to his feet, luckily for the Capitals. Far side, shot, sits out front for a moment for Gallant, and the Capitals back the other way. Numbers for Madison. Brandt to Rullers on the far side. Rullers powering his way towards the goal, feeds it out front. Eulenkamp had a chance at it, just never got a piece of his stick on it. Rullers down to the far side corner. Eulenkamp out front, near side to Brandt, kicked around a bit. Brandt still has it in his stick though. Brandt trying to force his way to the net, up to the point for Stout, and Stout vacated the position he was at. Musser thought about coming all the way out of his cage to play that one as Brandt will backhand that one down in deep. A couple of Caps go for changes as 12:40 remains here in period number 3. Musser all the way back behind the goal line to the near side and up the near side wall. Through neutral ice now comes Madison. Rollers off the end of his stick. Epperson now through neutral. Spins back the other way as Epperson starts up that far side wall. Intercepted along the way by the Capitals, but the U.S. keeps their feet chugging and gets possession for a brief moment. Lamb drops down to a knee, and on the near side, The Capitals will try to start up ice. Intercepted along the way. This U.S. line that's out there right now, the fourth line on paper, feisty and fighting for it. No icing on the play as it was deflected. Aiden Long put some pressure on. He's kind of drugged down to the ice surface. He's on the near side. Stewart unable to get it away from the Caps. Up top, Jamison, far side, Toby. Toby takes it down to the half wall. A shot deflected along the way. Slavic pokes at it, and Potter, the receiving end, is this one lobbed up to neutral ice. Murtagh gloves it down and carries into the offensive zone. Murtagh spins back towards the top. Down low, will send it for Stewart. Stewart wrestled down by Jamison. Bell on that far side. No call will come, even though the U.S. bench wants one. No icing will come as this one blocked along the way by Trethaway. Capitals go for a wholesale change. They get a deflection, rather they don't. Icing on the U.S. 11:13 to go in the third. 2-1 the score as a faceoff upcoming in the offensive zone for Madison. Faceoff will be on the far side to the left of Slavic in goal. Hong and Moore, the two-team centermen in this circle. Moe and Bernovic at Hong's wings. There's a face-off tied up and one back by the U.S. Up the near side, Asher Barnett through neutral, now gets a deflection, so no icing. This one goes all the way down in where Mackey is tied up by Moore. Mackey kicks it away, up the near side wall, intercepted, down low Moore. And the Capitals able to get possession back, but almost a costly turnover for the Caps. Up the far side, holding it at the line, Bracco. Mackey chases after it. Bell back beneath the goal line, gets possession. Mackey bodies him off the puck, and the Capitals start back. Bernovic plays it off the end wall. He already had achieved the red line, so no icing as the Capitals down in deep. Bernovic on possession. Bernovic thought about dropping there, instead takes it to the top of the zone. Shot goes wide. Rebound comes to Hong. Sits out front. The Capitals fan on it. 10:23 to go in the third. Madison having numbers against him back the other way. Back behind the defense is Bernovic, though. Bernovic into the offensive zone, has Moe with him. Nice job to use the body by Drew Schock. Separates body from puck. Is back beneath the goal line. Lincoln Keene starts up the far side for the U.S. Down in deep. No icing, deflected along the way. Stout has it play off the end wall awkwardly. Shot, goal, Fondrick scores. 3-1, the U.S. lead. Beat glove side again, goes over the shoulder of Carson Musser. The Capitals trail by 2. The faceoff comes back to center ice. Faceoff won back by Kuzma. The Caps need something here. Jamison ahead for Kuzma. Far side Nagel. Nagel tips it down in deep. Trethaway, rather that's Phillips, chases after it. Out front chance. Shot kicked into the corner by Slavic. Kuzma picks up the miss in the corner. Jamison up top, shot deflected along the way, goes into the far side corner. Toby goes to pinch down on the far side, and the Capitals try to hold the line. They're unable to as the U.S. come through neutral ice. Epperson throws on the brakes once he gets to the line. Epperson and Toby played some games together last season. Same with with Bernovic. Kuzma on the far side carries into the offensive zone. Does Delaney on the near. Kuzma slot shot that time, goes wide. Bounces up into the glass here on the window on the near side. Kuzma up against the wall. 2 Caps, 3 U.S. players. As the puck tied up in the corner. Both sides seem completely okay to keep it there, and the Capitals come away with it. Michaud, far side, Barlagi. Looking for a shooting lane. Back up top, Michaud. Michaud looking for options. 8:50 to go in the period. Shot deflect. Sits out front. Gallant clears into the corner as the Capitals try to start things back into their offensive zone. Behind the play, you heard the U.S. bench kind of going crazy. Gallant and Delaney met behind the goal. Icing will be on the play. Gallant got the better of Delaney. The faceoff will be in the defensive zone as the U.S. able to match lines. Face off on the far side to the right of Musser in goal. Rullers and Moore, the two-team centermen. Hold them up, boys. Warning given on the far side to Jake Stewart. Face-off, one back by the Capitals. Bernovic, or rather that's Barloghi, takes up that far side. It's poked off a Johnson stick at neutral ice. And back into the offensive zone. The U.S. sends it down in deep. Musser will play there for Madison. Musser will back into the far side for Barloghi. Barloghi up the far side into the offensive zone. No icing on the play. Rather, it will be icing. Capitals bench seems to be all right with it. Looked a bit awkward. I think Diego Johnson would have won the race to it from the near side. Either way, the faceoff will come on the near side to the left of Musser in goal. Rullers and O'Neill, the two-team centermen in the circle. Face-off one back by Rullers. Down in the corner, the Capitals send it off the window out towards neutral ice. Johnson leaves there for Brandt, and the Caps into the offensive end. Brandt down into the corner. Rullers now on it. Rullers tried to feed it out front for Brandt, but takes it into the far side as the two bodies collide there. Keene in there with Rullers working on that far side wall. The Caps have a body shoved up against the wall. That's Brendan Lamb down there, and the Capitals play it up to the point for Ramsey. Ramsey has a body on him, but not too close. He's able to make a couple of moves. Stout near side shot deflected into the stomach. A player for the Caps makes his way into the back of the net. That's Rainers Rullers. Media timeout in period number 3. Caps trail 3-1 to the U17s. Out-of-town scoreboard thanks to our friends at MadCapsHockey.com. Fargo beats Des Moines 5-4. Muskegon falls to the U18s. The U18s win 4-2. The Lancers 3-1 over the Lincoln. Final in that one. Final in Tri-City. Tri-City leads, or won over Sioux Falls, 6-3. Cedar Rapids falls 8-1 to Waterloo. Youngstown, of course, that's the game the Capitals are most worried about, wins 3-1 over Green Bay, and 4-1 Dubuque leads over Chicago late in period number 3. Capitals need a win here today to really keep things alive, and you see the Go Caps Go video being played here in the arena. Face off in the offensive zone. 7:37 to go in the third, 3-1. The score. The U17's in the lead, a pair from Fondrick and Potter with another. The 3 goal scorers, or the 2 goal scorers for all 5 goals of the weekend for the U17s. Warren given on the near side to Mason Moe. Potter and Hong, the two-team centermen in the circle. Faceoff tied up, one back by Potter, and eventually Bernovic goes and digs back for it for Madison. They'll chip it up that far side wall. Epperson there for the U17s and out towards neutral ice into the offensive zone on the near side, tied up. Offside on the U17s. Faceoff just outside the defensive zone for Madison. Same 5 stay out there for both teams, so we'll get back underway awfully quick here. Faceoff kicked back by Potter. Potter to the far side. Schock will send it down in deep. Musser tried to play it, unable to as it goes to the near side half wall. Potter gets it beneath the goal line as his buddy sent it to him. Nice job by the Caps to get possession back as Bernovic through neutral ice. Bernovic ahead up that far side wall, down in deep. The Caps chase after it. Hong up against the end wall. For a brief moment, the two sides meet there as Barnett skates away with possession, but Bernovic gets it back for Madison. Fed it up to the point a little too quick. Down at neutral ice. I'll have to send it back in. A couple of Caps will go for a change. 6:47 remains here in the third is now through neutral ice. The U17s take it. Nice job by Rice and company to get things back the other way for Madison. Turned over, though. In the slot, Bracco, backdoor feed, no one home. And now Brnovic back the other way for Madison. Brnovic into the offensive zone, has a couple of caps with him. Feeds it that time to Rice. Rice unable to get possession for too long. Feeds it over to Aiden Long now, and Brnovic will go for a change after feeding it over to the far side to Nathan Toby. Toby backhands that one along. Brendan Lamb into the offensive zone. Lamb throws on the brakes. Lamb looking for a shooting lane. Unable to find it. U.S. pokes it out towards neutral ice as Mackey now sends it to the far side. Long on possession is Bracco. Back the other way for the U.S. Moore kind of kicked himself out of possession there. Holding the line where the U.S. takes an odd bounce off of a stanchion. Luckily, the U.S. hadn't really gotten into a spot to play that puck. It was sitting out front with no one home. But the Capitals lucky on that one to not be trailing by 3 at this point. Down in deep, Barnett. Barnett starts up the far side wall. Through neutral, he'll send it down in deep. It rings around the kick plate to the near side. On possession, Stewart. Stewart down low, forcing his way out front. Moore, it pops up in the air. Moore gloves it back down himself. Mackey does a nice job to grab that one and get things back the other way for Madison. Kuzma, now Delaney too far behind him. Got a stick on it to the U.S. Delaney carries into the offensive zone after it pinballs around, though. Kuzma, top of the far side circle. Shot stopped along the way by Slavic. He'll hold on for a whistle. 5:03 remains in the third. 3-1 the score. Face off on the far side to the left of Slavic in goal. Fondrick and Kuzma in the circle. We'll keep an eye on Musser throughout the last 5 minutes of the period as to when head coach and general manager Andy Brandt decides to pull the goaltender. Schock plays it up the near side wall. O'Neill drops back at the half wall to play it into the corner for Trethewey. Trethewey up the far side. Backtracks now back to Trethewey. Does his defensive partner and ahead for O'Neill. O'Neill into the offensive zone. Chipped around a bit there. O'Neill will go pick up possession. Feeds it out front. Intercepted by Nagel, and the Caps back the other way. Nagel into the offensive zone. Far side Delaney feeds it too far behind John Stout and too far in front of Andrew Kuzma. Kind of in no man's land as Bell carries in into the near side. He'll take it behind the goal all the way around before dropping down where Ramsey, the only one home for either side, can start up ice for Madison. Near side Stout. Up the near side now. Delaney drops back for Ramsey. Couple of changes for Madison force Ramsey to go backwards and regroup once again. Ramsey starts up the middle of the ice now to Jack Brandt. Brandt into the offensive zone. Johnson tried to feed it back to Brandt. Instead, the U.S. intercepts. The Capitals at neutral ice get possession back and into the offensive zone they come. Offside as Jamison was going to have a great chance. Rullers with a nice set of eyes there. The Capitals have a face-off just outside the offensive end, though, here in a moment. Face-off opposite the U.S. bench. Rullers, Johnson, and Brandt for the Capitals. Under 4 to go in the third. Caps trail by 2. Phillips turns it over to Rullers. Rullers looks for options. Plays it into the corner for Brandt. Brandt slammed off the puck, but has it in his feet still and finds its way to Diego Johnson, does the puck. And in the near side, Horkoff on possession back the other way. Horkoff to the far side to Potter. Potter into the offensive zone. Throws on the brakes and circles back, circling around the offensive zone off the far side wall. It bounces oddly into the corner. Toby tries to settle it down. 3:20 to go in the period. The Capitals playing at the wrong end of the ice. If you want to make a comeback. He's now Trethewey forced to backtrack all the way to the far side. Schock now through neutral ice to the middle for Kwasnica. Kwasnica has it intercepted, but the Capitals have to backtrack as Schock sends it all the way down in deep. Ramsey through neutral ice to Nagel on the far side. I believe the goaltender will be coming here in a moment. Here he comes. Carson Musser off the net now. As on the far side, the Capitals trying to get things back. It's the same unit that won the game last week for the Capitals. A shot from Bernovic up into the protective netting for a whistle. This unit for Madison gave the Caps their win from down 3-1. Instead of Delaney, it was Kuzma, but Delaney out there as the Capitals will take a timeout. The first look at the extra attacker unit: Delaney, Ramsey, Bernovic, Hong, Long, and Nagel for the Capitals. Net vacant, as you see it there on Flow Hockey. Capitals will look to score goals down at that other end, and they'll strategize at their bench here for the next couple of minutes. I think they're going to change some things unit-wise. There's a whole bunch of players are out there on the ice at the moment. I don't know who's coming out for the Capitals. Dominic Zombo and Tom Gilbert, the two that the team are gathered around. Out there for the Caps: Brandt, Johnson, Hong, Ramsey, Bernovic, and Kuzma. Head coach and GM Andy Brandt kind of took a step back. His assistants figure out what the plan is here, and out onto the ice goes the first power play unit, adding Andrew Kuzma in the process. Face-off will be on the near side to the right of Slavic. 2:42 remains in the third period. Hong and Moore, the two team centermen. Caps looking for their second two-goal comeback with a net vacant in 2 weeks. Face-off tied up and eventually one into the corner by the Capitals. Jack Brandt will go pick up possession for Madison. Up the far side, Johnson. Now up top for Ramsey. Near side, Kuzma. Kuzma looks for options back up top for Ramsey. Ramsey with a shot that time. Doesn't get to the goal. I think Diego Johnson blocked it along the way. The Capitals settle down possession beneath the goal line. It was James Hong up that far side. Bernovic slows it down for Ramsey. Ramsey, far side, Bernovic. Bernovic looking for a shooting lane, sees one he likes. The U.S. will have a chance, but nice job by Kuzma to intercept. Bernovic, near side, shot. Stopped by the post. Johnson had a chance to bring the Caps within one. Kuzma couldn't hold the line. As he turns it over, the Capitals get possession back. As the Capitals now circle around their defensive zone up the far side. Bernovic will just slam it down in deep. Johnson will chase after it. The U.S. trying to clear up the near side. They'll send it to the far now. Well, they just send it down the length of the ice. They'll try to. Ramsey stops it on the way, though. It doesn't get all the way down, and the Capitals regroup at neutral. Kuzma now through neutral ice. A minute and a half to go in the period. Hong into the offensive zone. Tied up at the blue line. Brandt will hold for the Capitals. Down low, the U.S. sends it down. Kuzma plays it out of midair. Circles around and tries to start up ice. Stops the body, Fondrick. Gallant sends one towards the goal, stopped by Ramsey. Near side, Kuzma. Far side now for Rollers. Penalty. Madison, too many men. Rather, I think it's Jack Brandt heading to the penalty box for something on Gallant. Madison trailing by 2. Head contact. Capitals that close to bringing themselves within 1. Instead, trailing by 2. The Capitals will head to the kill. Offensive zone draw for the U.S. Head coach and GM Andy Brandt wants a word. Face-off will be on the far side to the right of Musser in goal. Nagel talking with Jamison and Toby. There's a face-off. One back by the Capitals. They send it out towards neutral. There's a minute to go in the period. The U.S. seems to be fine just killing some time off. Why not? Grab a couple of points, pick up a win. If I'm not mistaken, I saw 4 USHL wins for this U17 squad entering play last weekend. I don't know if they were able to pick up a win besides the Caps shutting them out last week. Able to pick up win number 5 here if they're able to kill the rest of the clock out. Potter will back things out to Phillips at the line, far side. Potter, one-time shot from Epperson, stopped along the way by Musser. 30.7 to go in period number 3. Capitals penalty kill, sending some offensive players out. I don't know if I've seen this duo on the penalty kill together this season. James Hong leads the team in shorthanded goals this season. But he's out there with Austin Bernovic. John Stout and James Mackey join him. Hong actually tied for the league lead in shorthanded goals with 3. As a faceoff one back, the Capitals send it up that far side wall, held in at the line. Intercepted now by Hong as the Capitals had a chance, but O'Neill intercepts, lifts the stick, and his shot sits out front. Musser holds for a whistle. 18.5 seconds to go in the third. 3-1 remains the score as a faceoff on the near side to the left of Musser. Face-off, tied up, one forward, and now Bernovic starts the other way. 15 seconds to go in the period. Takes something really cool to happen here, but I just don't see it happening with how the Caps played this evening. Murtagh behind the defense. Murtagh powering his way towards the goal. The Capitals will clear it the other way. And the U17s take down Madison here this evening. The Capitals fall by a score of 3-1. Carson Musser already making his way into the locker room here this evening as the Capitals just didn't have their number tonight. Falls 3-1. Let's take a look at our highlights from tonight's matchup. Thanks to our crew in the back and Play It Again Sports as well. Potter early on to give the U.S. a 1-0 lead. Back the other end of the ice. The Capitals strike John Stout, second of the season. Fondrick again, as they take home a 3-1 victory. And play spoiler here for the Capitals, as the Capitals, the best they could do is tie with Youngstown now with 3 games left this season for 4th place. So home ice almost looks out of the picture. Still possible, though, as the Capitals fall by a score of 3-1 here this evening to the USNTDP U17. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Back at home for our final home game. It's a dollar beer night presented by Coors Light next Friday night here at Bob Suiter's Capital Ice Arena. Be sure to join us then. You're listening to the home of Capitals hockey, the Caps Radio Network. As always, thanks for joining us. For the voice of the Capitals, Drew Steele, and our crew from Rush Media, Caps fall 3-1.